welcome back to the show, guys. I've got a banger of an episode in store for you today. We're going to talk about how to find your perfect trading strategy. If you guys are brand new to the podcast, thank you for joining, but I want to warn you in advance, this isn't any type of quick fix type thing. You're not going to type something into AI. It's going to spit out, this is the perfect trading strategy for you, although that would be an interesting experiment. Maybe it's something for a future video or episode, but rather finding your perfect trading strategy takes time. And I'm going to explain to you kind of the journey that I went through to find mine, the ups, the downs, the good, and the bad. Now, before we hop into the episode, I want to encourage you to go back and listen to Trading Coach Podcast episode 90. So make sure you write this down, right? It's an episode called Learning How to Learn. And in that episode, it's a presentation that I did for our traders about what I believe is the best way to learn how to trade and the absolute process that you should go through. And a lot of that process, it goes through really experiencing a lot of things and then going back and kind of dialing in, there we go, if I can speak correctly, dialing in on the things that make the most sense to you, that feel like the right fit after you found out all this other stuff, and then really digging into them in detail. And if you can do that, you're going to avoid a lot of the traps that I experienced in my trading journey because no one gave me a Trading Coach Podcast episode that told me what not to do. Not bitter. All right, let's hop in. I'm learning these early on in my career, so there was too much subjectivity there. I went to patterns in the first place because I needed something rules-based. I was a price action trader to begin with, and I struggled with price action trading because I wasn't mature enough to give myself the ability to have discretion. Because giving myself freedom just meant I was allowed to make mistakes and do dumb stuff. So I needed something really, really strict. I tried mechanical systems and it just didn't mesh with my philosophy. So patterns was a good mix because patterns kind of gave me very strict rules. So I didn't let's put it like this. I started off a little bit about my journey, and I'll try to make this as quick as possible, right? So let's say I started off as a price action trader. After I got the stock market, I went to Forex, struggled for years and years and years, got mentorship, got direction, and this is second phase, right? Phase 3.0 of Akil's journey, right? 1.0 was stock market, 2.0 was failing Forex trader, 3.0 was not good yet, but still on the right track. So I started with price action trading because it was cool. It was fun. I learned about technical analysis for the first time when I got into the Forex market. I was a fundy in the stock market. Technical analysis was cool. There's all these moving pieces. There's it's a big old open game that I can explore. And I got into price action trading. I thought it was cool. And one of the things that attracted me to it was the freedom. I can come in here and I can analyze and I can do stuff, right? We want to feel busy as traders. It makes it feel like we're doing something. I don't know about you guys. I'm the type where if I'm working, it's weird. I like manual labor because it feels like I used to do landscaping and building houses and stuff like that. It feels like I'm doing something versus if I'm just sitting here picking up a phone, I'm getting paid for nothing. So I want to feel like I'm doing something. I want to have value, kind of going off the conversation we had yesterday. So I got into price action trading because of that. And it was cool. I had freedom. It was this, open map that I can explore. The problem was I wasn't disciplined enough to explore it, right? So I'm out there exploring it, but I didn't have any discipline. So I'm just this wild baby running around, doing everything. And I just keep getting killed, right? It's imagine on the video game theme, imagine you're in this open world map on a video game and you're just running out there with no weapons and no idea how to, you didn't read the instructions or anything like that. You're just figuring out the buttons on the fly and you keep getting killed and then you refund your account and restart and then you run again and just keep getting killed, right? You don't have any you don't have a strategy guide or anything like that. You just keep doing the same dumb stuff over and over again. But the difference is each time you respawn, it's costing you money. So I had to get out of that, right? Because I kept dying, I kept respawning, and I kept killing my nest egg, right? Because so I'm okay, I need to be strict, I need discipline. So I hopped over to the other side. So I had two mentors. I had Jason Stapleton and Todd Brown. Jason Stapleton was very price action based, discretionary trading. Todd Brown was a systems wizard. He can build any system out of anything. Great with price action as well, but his knowledge of price action allowed him to become a systems wizard where you can throw him 3 indicators and he'll put together a strategy for you in like 10 minutes. And it's just amazing stuff. So I hopped over to his side, right? A little system hopping, right? And I started looking at different strategies that he had. He had some amazing strategies, and I followed them. The problem was the strategies were good, I'm sure, but like we always say, right? We can give 100 traders a profitable strategy, and probably only 25 of them would actually be profitable. Did you know that? Right? If we had 100 traders and I gave them a strategy that I tested that was profitable, you just plug and play. And we've done this before. We've given out strategies like this, right? I guaranteed only about 20 or 25% would be profitable, right? 50% of them, right? So 50 of those traders in the room would fail because they're going to want to try to improve the strategy. They're going to take something that is great, that works, and they're going to be like, I think I can make it work better. And they're going to fail because of that. They're going to ruin it, right? The other 25 traders just don't have the psychological discipline to follow it. They're going to trade it perfectly. I mean, not like mess anything up, but they're going to make psychological mistakes. That was where I was at, where I was trading it, but I wasn't disciplined on the psychology side. So because I didn't fully buy into the system, I didn't understand the system, it was kind of just a tool for me to make money, because that was my goal at that point. After I respawned so many times and blew my account and refunded it, and I was running low, I'm like, I just got to start making some money, man. I didn't really agree with the strategy. I didn't like the strategy. It didn't mesh with my philosophy, and that's kind of what sparked why we tell you guys, right, trade something that meshes with your philosophy. I was trading it strictly to make money like a mercenary, and I just wasn't built like that. So what would happen is I would get a signal, and my mind would be like, man, that's a horrible signal. But the signal would be like, Akil, you got to do it. And I would have this internal dilemma of like, so what do I do? And sometimes I was disciplined and I would take the signal. Sometimes I would not take the signal. So of course, when I wouldn't take the signal, right, the signal would win. And I'm like, oh, stupid. Knew I should have taken it. And of course, when I did take the signal, and if it were to lose, right, it won plenty. But whenever it lost, I would be like, I know this strategy was stupid. I was right. My mind told me to buy and this thing told me to sell. This is stupid, right? So I never really trusted it, and because of that, I was in that 25% that I didn't do bad, but I didn't do good either. I kind of just floated in mediocrity forever, just drifting in the abyss of break-evenness. So I learned then that I didn't really want to be a mechanical system trader because I wasn't going anywhere. So I needed something that kind of was the best of both worlds. Like, how can I trade price action, which I love and I agree with, that I trust? But how can I not have freedom to do what I wanted to do, right? And this is what I learned about advanced pattern formations, where I learned about CTS first, but I just wasn't disciplined enough to do CTS. I ended up going back to CTS, but I needed something that was kind of straightforward. So I went to patterns because there was the analytical element of it, which I had to identify an impulse leg, right? There was nothing, we didn't have our Enigma back then. I had to do it manually, right? Old school, right? I had to identify an impulse leg. I had to read the legs, which was the discretionary part of it, which I enjoyed. However, the rules for each requirement, like we spoke about earlier, were super strict, right? There were no question of Akil. If it hits a 618, could this be a bat? Like, no, it's black or white. And that kind of gave me the best of both worlds. It gave me the electric fence that I needed to stay within, so I don't drift away and roam the land and get attacked by beasts like I were earlier. But it also gave me enough freedom to kind of feel like, like I'm doing what I'm doing. It was similar to we had Halloween the other day, and we let our kids roam as we followed in a car, right? So, but it gave them the freedom of like, hey, like I'm out there, older brother, younger brother, like we're crossing the street, we're going to the houses by ourselves, like mom and dad aren't walking to the houses with us. It makes you feel good. Like they felt like a man. They felt like men, right? They came back with beards. They were men. And, but we were right in back of them in a car. So, because, they're 9 and 6, and it would be irresponsible to just let them roam the streets, by themselves. So it was that kind of the best of both worlds there. And that's how I got in the pattern trading, and that's how I loved it. And then obviously, as I gained experience in the market, I became more disciplined and blah, blah, blah. And I went back to CTS, which if you see my price action trading now, it's all based off that CTS. I no longer follow the CTS checklist, but the CTS, again, gave me strict rules. It forced me to analyze the market the same way each time. It forced me to look for the same things. I was no longer looking for random stuff in the market. I had to look for RSI. I had to look for double top. I had to look for divergence. I had to look for AB equals CD. I had to look for structure. I had to look for fibs, right? I had to look for the exact same thing every single time. And that was my electric fence that said, hey, Akil, this is what you're allowed to look at. This is what you're not allowed to look at. But within that, I had the freedom of being like, hey, is this major structure, minor structure? Or, ooh, look at that candlestick and that, right? So it was me kind of, I guess, like dipping my toe into freedom. And this is what we always talk about when it comes to trading and intuition. Is intuition a real thing in the market? Yes, right? There is intuition. I believe intuition is based off of, the subconscious stuff that you saw and blah, 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 blah. But you have to earn your right to listen to your intuition. And then even once you have to, intuition comes from experience. Intuition isn't just like, we're not born with this magical like ability to be like, oh, I have this spidey sense that the markets are going to go up, right? That's complete BS. We have this spidey sense because we've seen something over our 18 years of trading that tell us that we're more likely to go up than not, right? Or that I should stay away from the markets. Our job as traders is to understand where that spidey sense is coming from, because it's not random. That's the thing. It's not random. We don't have this magical power. It's based off something we've seen before. So you want to turn your intuition into rules. You want to understand, why am I feeling this? Why am I sensing this? You want to pinpoint exactly what that is. Oh, I'm thinking it's likely to go up because we have this type of candle followed by this type of candle, or because volume spikes are at this level. And then we turn it into a rule. And now it's rules-based intuition. Bang, there we go. Alex says all across 28 pairs. No, my right here, if you look on the top right, it says my portfolio. These are the only pairs I trade. So I do not trade 28 pairs. I had a time in my reckless wandering of the abyss where I traded 20 pairs, and I would consistently get into trouble. And then I would say that I would talk to my accountability partner, Roy, and we'd be like, we touch base, like, Akil, how you doing? Man, I suck, man. How about you, Roy? Yeah, I suck too, right? And then we'd figure out why we sucked. And one of the reasons that we sucked, we were trading too many pairs, and we didn't have the mental capacity to deal with it. Like I couldn't fully focus on 20 pairs at the same time. But I wanted to, because I wanted to trade more pairs and make more money. But I was making mistakes because I was overloaded. I didn't have enough bandwidth for it. So we would always have that conversation, and then we'd make this sacred vow. I, Akil Stokes, on the night of October 5th, have decided I will trade not more than 14 pairs for the next year at minimum. And we'd poke our fingers, we'd sign it in blood, normal trader stuff, right? And then I'd get started with trading those 14 pairs for about a week. And then what do you think happened after that? What do you think happened after that? Look to the left, look to the right, put a little tape over my webcam, and somehow I was trading 20 again, baby. I'm back. And then a month later, I'd talk to Roy and be like, how are we doing, Roy? He's like, nah, man, I'm struggling. How many pairs you trading? Hey, 20. He's like, me too. And then we'd restart the process. But I finally settled on 12 in my initial portfolio, my initial good portfolio. 12 was the magic number for me. And then eventually that went down to 9 just due to like some volatility stuff that happened in the Wild West days of trading, where the ATR on like some of these pairs were like 8,000 pips and just, untradeable. And then 9 ended up being a good fit for me. So yeah, just 9 pairs. But I know those 9 pairs extremely well. So I'm a much more efficient trader. The volume isn't there, but as I've gotten older, I don't care less about, I care less about activity and more about quality of trade. So quality over quantity. And that's the natural progression of traders. We want to trade a lot, This is what Jason Grayson did a presentation about this, about why traders flock to lower time frames. We want to trade a lot because in the beginning we feel like we have to. We don't earn our badge unless we trade. But then as you get older, you realize like, man, I'm just about the money, and I can make the same amount of money just being more efficient and spending less time in the markets, and that becomes a lot of our values. If you enjoyed the show, support the show, leave me a rating and a review, or at least take a second to hit that like button and share this with your community of traders. I appreciate all the love, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, plan your trade, trade your plan. Take care.